In the last video we looked at adding pinches and 1-5-1s to your melody. We reinforced the idea of keeping your right hand strong on the banjo, keeping the palm above the strings, the ring finger pushing down through the skin. We practiced adding rolls to two melodies, Violin Cabbage Down and Down the Road, and we finished by varying up the roll, changing between pinches and 1-5-1s. When we add the 1-5-1s, we end up sometimes with 8 notes in a bar. For example, if the two melody notes are open third string, and we follow both of those notes with 1-5-1s, we get 3-1-5-1, 3-1-5-1. And that is 8 notes. If you're still unsure on any of that, please do go back and look at videos 1 and 2. Today we're going to look at filling in the gaps that were left when we added 1-5-1s after the single tail notes. For example, in bar 3 of Down the Road, we have melody note on the third string, melody note on the third string, both of those open, and then fourth string second fret. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We then added 1-5-1s after the single tail note, the open third string. So that became. Similarly on bar 4, we had open fourth, second fret fourth, open third, and a 1-5-1. Or a pinch at the end. Both of those bars together would sound something like this. So now you can see that the joined up notes feel slow compared to the single tail notes followed by 1-5-1s. So all we're going to do is add the first string after every joined up note. So the first line of Down the Road is going to look like this. So do pause the video now and go away and practice that exercise until you can get the first string kicking back after the joined together notes. Okay, so let's do the whole of Down the Road together with pinches and 1-5-1s and kicking back on the first string after every joined up note. So vary up whether you put pinches or 1-5-1s after the single tail notes, and also add in that first string after every joined up note. You can follow along with the tab, and you can watch my hands as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. So practice that as much as you can until you're comfortable with adding in the first string after every joined up note and varying pinches and the 1-5-1s. Okay, so it's video 3, so let's learn melody number 3. It's called 9-pound hammer. I won't call out the strings and the frets, but you can follow along on the tab. We'll start by looking at the first 2 bars. Now this tune starts with a pickup. That is a couple of notes before the first bar to bring us into the tune. So the pickup is, and then we've got, so the count is 3, 4, Second bar, we're going to use on the left hand the ring finger on fret 2 of the third string, not the middle finger, and I'll explain why in a second. So, bar 2. Bar 3, ring finger, middle finger. And if you notice, we've got both of those fingers down on the second fret. We're holding them down so both of those notes are ringing out for as long as possible. And that's why we use that ring finger for the third string, so we can end up in that position with 2 fingers holding both of those strings down at the same time. Bar 4 is 4th string, and then we're going to lift the ring finger for the third string, but keep the middle finger on the 4th string. So, and then open for the 5th bar, middle finger, let's play the whole melody through from the beginning. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and we're going to come in on beat 3 and 4 with that pickup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. If you want to repeat that tune, you would bring the pickup in at the end of the last bar. So going from bar 6, it would be pickup. So as with all of these melodies, just take a moment to practice the melody by itself, so you're familiar with the melody. On the right hand, you're picking it with the thumb, and just focus on your hand positions again. Make sure your right hand is solid, and make sure that your left hand is set up correctly. That is, your ring finger on string 3, and your middle finger on string 4, both of them on the 2nd fret. And you can start by hovering those fingers above those positions at the beginning of the tune, so you don't have to move that left hand very much. Once you've got that melody in your head and in your fingers, then we can start adding the pinches, the 1-5-1s, and the first string after every joined up note. The first string, by the way, when we play it like that, is called the drone. The first string will go after both of the notes in the pickup as well. So let's try that tune, putting all of those rolls in from the start. Ready? I'm going to do the same count as before, starting on beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Again, pause the video, practice that lots and lots until you're comfortable improvising with the pinches and the 1-5-1s. And when you're ready, we'll move on. Up till now, we've been putting pinches or 1-5-1s after every single tail note. Now we're going to add in another roll that we can play after the single tail note, and it's the 2-5-1. So that starts on the index finger on the 2nd string. So you've got 2, 5, 1. So you're just modifying the 1, 5, 1 to start on the second string. So for example, if your melody note is a single tail open third string, then we're going to go 3, 2, 5, 1. Or maybe it's the fourth string. Or maybe it's the third string of the second fret. Now, as with the pinches and the 1, 5, 1s, we can't put the 2, 5, 1s after a note that is joined to another note because it won't fit. Also, we can't put a 2, 5, 1 after a single tail note that starts on the second string because that would mean playing the same string twice, which we're not going to do quite yet. So whenever you see a third string single tail note or a fourth string single tail note, let's practice adding in 2, 5, 1. So we're going to play the whole of 9-pound hammer with 2, 5, 1s and the first string after the joined up notes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So again, pause the video and just practice that as much as you like until you feel comfortable adding in 2, 5, 1s after every single tail note. Okay, now we're going to practice varying up all of the rolls that we've learnt so far. So that's pinches, 1, 5, 1s and 2, 5, 1s. Remembering that we can add pinches and 1, 5, 1s after single tail notes on the fourth string, third string and second string, and we can add 2, 5, 1s after single tail notes on the fourth string and third string only. The joined up notes, we're still just going to add in the first string after every one of those. So for example, if we look at the first tune we learnt, Bylum Cabbage Down, we can add in 2, 5, 1s on bar 4, the second half of bar 7 and bar 8. For the rest of the bars, we can only add in pinches and 1, 5, 1s. So it might sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And with Down the Road, we can add in 2, 5, 1s after the single tail notes throughout the tune, apart from in bar 5 where they're on the second string. So that might sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 9-pound hammer, we can add in 2, 5, 1s for all of the single tail notes. So let's try that on 9-pound hammer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now, I don't want you to worry too much about playing exactly what I'm playing. I want you to practice varying up where you put the 2-5-1s, where you put the pinches, and just play around and experiment to see where you think they sound best. So I want you to get away from the screen. If you have a printer, print off those 3 melodies. If you just have a pen and paper, then you can write them down. And just practice those 3 melodies by themselves, then adding in pinches and 1-5-1s after all the single tail notes, 2-5-1s after the single tail notes on strings 3 and 4, and adding in the first string after every joined up note. When you're practicing, make sure that you're keeping everything really, really slow and focus on fluidity and good technique rather than trying to speed up. So that means keeping an eye on that right hand position we looked at in the first video, holding the top of the neck of the banjo like we did also in the first video, and just really focusing on the tone that you're getting from the strings, making sure that your thumb is picking down flat on the strings and your index and middle fingers are picking up also flat on the strings. For that, you want to keep reminding yourself to twist that wrist and point it down towards the floor. So just use those 3 tunes as a way to practice good technique and get a really good sound out of your banjo. Nice and slow, there's no rush. Just try and get those 3 rolls down as much as possible. If you're not getting a great sound from your banjo, or you're stuck or confused about anything, please look back through the last 3 videos and just check that your hand positions are good, your ring fingers supporting your right hand, your thumb is reaching up towards the neck, you're twisting that wrist. That's the thing that people often forget, is the wrist twist, because it feels quite unnatural at first. So make sure your right hand position is good, the left hand is just loosely gripping the neck at the top. You're putting your fingers down on the tip of the fingers, and you can reach the left hand wrist around a little bit if you're catching the strings with your fingers. So just play around, make micro adjustments with your left hand to get a good tone, and make sure that the fingers are sitting just behind the frets. In the next video, we're going to look at another melody, and we're going to start adding some colour to your playing. We're going to add a couple of chords to really bring out the melodies. If you found this lesson helpful, please subscribe and visit my website www.banjoandguitar.com. Thanks for stopping by.